Hey there movie fans, I'm Andersen, and continuing my series of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise and leading up to the release of Dead Man Tell No Tales this May, we already took a look at the first film in the franchise, which if you haven't seen my video on that, you can click the card right here. Now, with that out of the way, let's look at the sequel. I remember watching Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest back in 2006 and being pretty disappointed in the length and ending of the film. And in rewatching the film, there are still some issues, but I think there's definitely a lot of fun to be had in this film, and easy to see how it became a billion-dollar franchise. Following the ending of the first film, Elizabeth, Will, and Commodore Norrington are wanted by Cutler Beckett of the East Indian Trading Company for assisting in the escape of Captain Jack Sparrow. Luckily for them, Beckett is in need of Jack's compass, which causes them to reunite once again. However, Jack is attempting to mend a debt owed by the captain of the Flying Dutchman, Davy Jones, and so causes the plans and motivations of our characters to change in typical pirates fashion. Now that was quite a mouthful, as it's clearly the goal of the first half of the film to set up a lot of pirates lore, which really causes the first act to drag, which includes, in my opinion, the biggest mistake of the film, which is the Cannibal Tribe sequence. This sequence is a mix of a watered-down version of Green Inferno with a taste of the C-3PO Ewok scene from Return of the Jedi. Now, is this sequence completely bad? No, there are a few entertaining moments in the sequence, especially in the hanging cage scene, that remind me a lot of The Emperor's New Groove. But the biggest issue I have with these scenes is that they just don't feel like they belong in a Pirates film. And if you were to trim or completely cut the sequence, I think it would have given the film more focus and cut down on that overly long runtime. Next, the film builds upon the fantastical elements with the crew of the Flying Dutchman and Davy Jones himself.
Do you feel this?
Which was a huge departure in the more grounded story of Curse of the Black Pearl, and another reason why I didn't really like the film on my first viewing. However, in rewatching the film again, with the knowledge that this is the direction they were heading, I think it's implemented fairly well. And I especially like the relationship building between Bootstrap and Will, obviously a relationship that couldn't have been built upon if we went with a more grounded story. And speaking of relationship building, there's definitely a lot of time spent on teasing the potential of a Elizabeth and Jack relationship, which I feel like this should have bothered me, but it doesn't. This may be because it comes off as playful flirting for the most part, or because me as an audience member is just as curious as the characters if they were to actually end up together. It also adds a lot of depth to both characters, whereas we see Elizabeth showing her true survival skills when she ultimately betrays Jack, and we see that Jack does have potential to be heroic. But I think the film truly starts to shine once the chest is actually found, where we see that Jack, Will, and Norrington all have different plans for the chest, giving us not only a physical representation of the love triangle we got in the first film, but is the moment that truly makes the movie a Pirates film. Which leads to my favorite sequence in the film, which is the wheel chase scene, because not only is it silly and over the top in the best possible way, but it's the first time that we hear the original Pirates theme, which truly makes it feel like a Pirates film. Which leads me back to the cliffhanger ending that explicitly sets up the next film and reveals that Captain Barbossa is still alive. Which again, watching the movie the first time made the film feel incomplete with no sense of finality. But watching it again as a part one to a larger story, I think it works very well. I just wish I would have known it was a two-parter back when I saw the film the first time, but then again, even when I do see films that I know are in two parts, I end up being a little disappointed. So Dead Man's Chest starts off really slow, but by the second half really comes into its own. And that's why, for me, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest is a really good movie. So those are my thoughts on the second Pirates film. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to join me next month when we look at Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. And click over here to see what I have planned for the month of February. And click over here to see my latest reviews on Ridley Scott's Alien and season 1 of a series of unfortunate events. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my social media links in the description below. Until next time, don't forget to watch the movies.